98% of the time, it is the greatest gathering for families that's why I've been a part of US Kids Golf for as long as I have, because this is really, really cool. Yeah. One of my very good friends, who's one of the most decorated coaches in the world, once told me this philosophy he has for his junior program. It didn't make sense to me when he said it. Typically, when a kid comes into this program and he introduces them, kind of shows them around, gives them a little, tours them around the facility, he says when he notices that the kids, when he senses they're having the best time, class is done, go home. And I'm like, well, okay, why? Why would you do that? Why? And he says, because what you are trying to do at that point is make the golf course somewhere where they're begging to come back. I want to go back.
100%.
That was so much fun. I want to go back. He's seen parents drag them away while they're crying. No, I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave. But next week, when it's time to go to glass, they're first ones in the car. And the same club's not going to fit them all. Not properly.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
So we go by
sometimes I just say things, Sean. I'm sorry.
We go by proper fit, and that's really done by height and skill.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bogey Ball Society. I'm particularly excited about this episode. As we've talked about over the past few, I've got little kids. All of us on the podcast have little kids, and they're expensive, and golf's no different. These are my kids' previous clubs from US Kids Golf. So we reached out to US Kids Golf. We're joined by Mr. John Kim, who's going to talk to us about youth golf, what US Kids brings to the table. And if you don't have kids, stick around and listen anyway, because it's great to listen to a company that really, and Mr. Kim himself, who are very, very passionate about the game of golf and what US Kids Golf, what they bring to the sport beyond just kids equipment. Hope you enjoy this one, everybody.
Sorry, we're just saying people don't normally get fired up about junior golf, but I think there's
no. I think you would think that would be right, but believe it or not, some parents, a few parents, they get you've seen Little League baseball.
I just had my last coaching of the year for T-ball was yesterday, and well, T-ball I think is a different animal, because most of the kids have never played before or thrown before. But you could tell there were a couple of dads that were like, "Stop playing in the dirt!" Like, just so they could barely keep it under control. And I'm out there, I'm like lifting the kids up out of the dirt, like, "Hey, maybe don't eat it this time." Like, "Hey, buddy, like let's try to focus on the ball that so it doesn't hit you right in the face." But
I need to put the disclaimer out. From what I've seen and what I've been a part of and what I've been out there, 98% of the time, it is the greatest gathering for families that's why I've been a part of US Kids Golf for as long as I have, because this is really, really cool. And it's just always that 1%. Some parent gets a little overzealous. They rarely get upset with us. And often it's usually not them getting upset even at the player. Every once in a while they do say, "Hey, you need to focus and lock in and whatnot." Yeah. What I find funny is it's when the parent says something to the kid and the other parent who's not inside the rope says, "Hey, you don't talk to him like that, or don't talk to her like that." And so it's the two parents that get a little, overly engaged. Again, rare, but you see it and you're like, that's not what I expected today.
Yeah. It is. It's amazing how high emotions can run at youth sports.
I'll tell you,
you know what I mean?
It's two things. It's and both of these are actually net positives. They just don't always manifest themselves in the perfect way. And that is that they care. They've invested a lot of time into this experience, right? It is just what it is. There's a travel component. you buy plane tickets, you buy hotel, you whatever for some of these
Yeah.
events. So you do
Yeah.
that.
Sure.
So you want everyone to take it kind of to some extent serious enough to justify the investment into it.
Yeah.
And then there is that also, hey, but they're still kids, and kids are kids, and
Yeah.
you know, there's various schools of coaching and thought as to the best way to develop at to get to whatever levels and dreams that some of these people may have. Certainly, as an organization, I think our goal is just as long as the kid loves golf. At the end of the day, uh, I tell parents all the time, I don't really care what your kid shoots. And I say that as your
Mhm.
friend, as people, people that I go to dinner with. And
Yeah.
so I don't really care what your kid shoots. The end of the day, I care more about their golf at 18 than I do at 8. But at 8
Right.
is when I need you to create an interest and a routine that gets them looking forward to playing golf. One of my
That's great.
one of my very
I like that a lot.
good friends, who's one of the most decorated coaches in the world, once told me this philosophy he has for his junior program. It didn't make sense to me when he said it, but in the years since, I've realized how brilliant it is. And he said that typically when a kid comes into this program initially, and he introduces them, kind of shows them around, gives them a little tutorial on what a golf club is, what's end of the club to hold, tours them around the facility. He says when he notices that the kids, as they kind of group together and make friends, when they are having a great time, when they're running around, jumping, rolling on the grass, over by the creek, looking at turtles, when he senses they're having the best time, class is
Mm.
done. Go home. And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, okay, why? Why would you do that? Why? And he says, because what you are trying to do at that point is make the golf course somewhere where they're begging to come back. I want to go
Yeah,
back.
100%.
That was so much fun. I want to go back. He's seen parents drag them away while they're crying. No, I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave. But next
Yeah.
week, when it's time to go to class, they're first ones in the car. So
Oh, I love
yeah,
it.
I
Yeah.
think that's
That's
a
brilliant.
great way.
Well, John, we kind of jumped right into it. First of all, thanks for being here. Welcome to the Bogey Ball Society podcast. You mentioned being with U.S. Kids Golf for many years. Hey, tell us about yourself. How long have you been with U.S. Kids Golf, and what do you do
Well,
for them?
guys, really appreciate you having me on, and thank you for the opportunity to kind of share the mission. Me personally, like the most uninteresting guy that's been allowed to have this incredible life in golf. I've been so incredibly blessed for it. My first job out of college, I was working. I thought I wanted to be a journalist of some sort, so I got a job at CNN Headline News, and I was working the overnight shift. And I'll tell
Oh,
you how
wow.
old I am. There was this brand new thing that was kind of taking the world by storm called the internet. And
Thank you, Al
yeah,
Gore.
so
Yeah, right. Exactly.
it's late at night, overnights. I'm working overnights because that's what you do in your first gig. And I find
Yep.
this local golf portal, AtlantaGolfer.com. And anyways, I had just started learning to play golf, and I wasn't very good. I didn't have any access to courses. I didn't have any money, so that's a bad combo. But I found this golf
Yeah,
portal,
right. Yeah.
and I love to play golf. So I contacted them and I said, "Hey, I want to be involved, whatever you guys are doing." And they're like, "Well, we're just a couple developers. We don't have any money, but we don't know golf either. We can just program." That
Oh,
phone
wow.
call led this incredible journey where at first I became like their head writer. And I went around all these golf courses in the Atlanta area and met all these golf pros and wrote reviews of their course. I got to play the golf course and write a review. How cool was that?
Mhm.
This is a brilliant idea.
I'm working at CNN Headline News was a part of Turner Broadcasting, and I had interned
Yeah.
at CNN Sports the year before. And some of the guys
Okay.
from CNN Sports had started a new division called Turner Sports Interactive, and they did the digital rights for professional sports league, NASCAR, NBA. NBA on TNT has always been a big thing, and one of them was
Yeah.
PGA of America. And they said, "Well, John, you know about golf? Not really, but okay, yeah, if you say so. They said, why don't you come work with us? And so I got to do what I did for AtlantaGolfer.com, and I got to do it on a PGA level, right? So honest to God, I am
Okay.
going to Pebble Beach and Bandon Dunes and Whistling Straits and
Oh
the
my
best courses in the
God.
world. And I go into the major championships and the Ryder Cup, and it was just a dream gig. And I realized after I've been doing that for about 10 years, if I didn't do something different, I was gonna be there forever. And I knew that the licensing deal with PGA and, um, Turner was going to end at some point. So I had an opportunity to, just try a couple other things, and then, I got a phone call out of nowhere, just randomly, and someone said, "Hey, I was lucky enough to win a couple of, random awards for being, like, an early adopter on the whole social media landscape."
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Company calls me and says, "Hey, we need to expand our digital presence. Could you just come have lunch with us and explain what you would like what you would do?" I said, "Sure." I didn't really know much
Wow.
about them. I show up here, we have a great lunch, and they said, "Well, do you know anybody that could do this?" Whatever things that I outlined, I thought they should do. I said, "You know what? I could do it." And I thought I'd be here for like a year or 2. Uh,
Wow.
Contacted my buddies at the PGA. They asked me, they said, "John, US Kids Golf is fantastic. Wonderful. Do you think it's big enough for your personal ambitions, your personal professional life? Because you're used to the world's biggest golf events. Do you think US
Mhm.
Kids Golf is going to kind of satisfy this?" And I said, "I don't know. Let me just try it for a little bit because again,
Yeah.
it is a par 5 from my front door and close to the golf club that I play at." Well, within a month or 2, I go to the US Kids Golf World Championship, and I called my buddy from the PGA of America, and I said, "I hate to tell you this, but this is plenty big. This is huge, and I think this is going to be
That's awesome.
even bigger." So, that was number 1. Number 2, that's how I came to US Kids Golf. The thing about US Kids Golf, and I don't wanna pick on the PGA because I love the PGA and the people there and what they've done for me in my life, but working at the PGA was working with a little bit of, politics or bureaucracy and there's the
Sure.
leadership and then there's the membership, and sometimes they don't always see eye to eye and people wanna tell me how group A should be doing something, and I don't know what you guys are saying. Um, Here, 99% of my time is spent in celebration of parents telling
Oh,
me
that's awesome.
how much they appreciate the opportunity to do X with their kid.
Yeah.
I work on the foundation side quite a bit, right?
Okay.
Okay.
People donate money to the US Kids Golf Foundation. And typically, when they do, I reach out to a good number of them and I just ask, because we're not really aggressive in our solicitations for it, but I'll say, "Why did you donate?"
Yeah.
And those stories are remarkable how they are not that remarkable. And what I mean by that is there's not a lot of heartbreak, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not sick kids, it's not
Mhm.
puppies and you know, infomercials at 2 in the morning or anything. It's parents saying, "I just had the greatest time."
So Sarah McLachlan does not do the
Not
the
yet,
theme song for the US
we're
Kids,
talking,
right?
but,
Skinny puppies.
yeah, but it's saying, "I just had the greatest time, and it meant so much to me, and now I'm in a
That's
position
so
where I
cool.
wanna help other parents and other families have these same experiences." Now, we certainly have
Yeah.
Well, John,
campaigns.
well, and I hate to cut you
No,
off there,
no.
but I want to kind of ask you. I think you might be kind of elaborating on something that I think a lot of parents might not be aware of relative to Kids Golf, because I think at first, and maybe we should talk about it at first. I think people think, oh, that's the junior golf equipment company, and there's a lot
Yeah.
more to US Kids Golf than just some clubs, right?
Yes, yes, so we
Yeah.
basically have 3 foundational pillars of the business, and then a couple of
Okay.
other little extensions of, but the 3, and they work all hand in hand. And unfortunately, there's a large number of people that probably only know us for one, whichever one that
Sure.
may be.
Sure.
The company
Yeah.
started as an equipment. company. The founder, Dan Van Horn, right? Exactly. Uh,
Yep.
He was like any dad. He wanted to play golf with his kid, took his kid out to the golf course, and his kid was a very good athlete for his age and just kind of wasn't hitting the ball very well. And he said something's fundamentally not right. So he has a baseball background and an engineering background. And he said, for little league kids, they get these lighter bats. He said, what if we created a lighter golf club that could still hit the ball? And so that started the idea of the lighter golf clubs. And then the idea of kids needing to fit to the club, like, because the idea has always been get the cut down adult club and then it's too heavy and it screws up your swing a little bit. Well, let's make it a lighter club and let's make it the right length. And as the kid grows, we'll give them incrementally longer clubs that are engineered to still have the same swing weight. So that's the equipment side of the business.
I love that.
Right. And so we have four lines of clubs that come in up to 11 sizes. So however, no matter how good your kid is or isn't, and how tall they are, we got the right golf club. So that's number one. Number two is tournaments. Dan likens it to, why would you give a kid a bat, a ball, gloves, and then tell them, sorry, there's no games to play? You got to have a competitive aspect for both aspirational reasons and for just development reasons. So we started a tournaments business. The tournament side, which operates under the foundation, runs more tournaments in a year than any organization in the world. Like last year was more than 2,500 events.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you figure out, you can do the math yourself. It's a lot. It's a lot of events, every day, every weekend. And then there's a coaching side, right? Because if you're going to have equipment and you're going to have tournaments, you need to have coaches. So we have to train coaches in the best way to teach kids, to develop them, to get them fit properly, to give them a pathway, so to speak, in how to go from, I don't know which end of the club to hold, all the way through, hey, I can compete at the highest level. And so when those work kind of in harmony, and they have, and we've been very fortunate to have a large number of coaches, a large number of tour directors and volunteers, and the tour directors are paid. They don't all volunteer, but we really have really good people, and that's where rubber meets the road. So we've been blessed with amazing talent and people working together in a mission that so many people can kind of get behind, and that's why it's been as successful as it has been.
John, sorry, I just want to that's 200. That's over 200 tournaments a month. Is that just?
Wait, yes.
Did I do that right?
Yeah.
200 times 2 times 12 is 24. It's 2,500 a year.
Right.
That's an absurd number. I was not expecting that number at all. Is that just the U.S. or is that international?
No, there's international.
No, there are international. There's like at the World Championship.
That's still an incredible amount.
At the World Championship, there's more than 50 countries represented. Now, I will tell you this, the 2,500 number, which is mind-boggling, it's not even close to what I think we'll probably end up at. This year was our very first event in China. Imagine when that scales. So,
wow.
No, but
do you change the name? Is it no longer U.S. Kids if it's in China?
Question. That's a great question.
I'm not even trying to be funny.
No.
That's a genuine.
It is a great question.
It's very insightful.
Here's a little secret for you guys. The original idea behind the name U.S. Kids Golf. This is not official. If anybody wants to quote me on this one, I don't know if I have permission to either say it or I'm going to say it right, but I'll just tell you guys.
Great. I'll make sure this is a socials clip. Don't worry.
This is great. Hold on. BogeyBallSociety exclusive. John, go.
The official idea behind it initially was U.S. Kids Golf in the U.S. And then when, the Canadian side would be Canadian Kids Golf, and there'd be a Swedish Kids Golf or whatever.
Sure.
The idea
People's Republic of China won't really fit on the club head, though.
Well, even more so, think about the inventory issues of having to hold clubs with all these different names, right?
Yeah.
That's just not going to work. And so Obviously, it was
Wow.
very, very domestic heavy to begin with. But what we found was as it started kind of getting some traction in international markets, people were attracted to the name U.S. Kids Golf. I mean, the United
Sure.
States certainly has
That makes sense.
the
It's a known
the most
thing that
golfers, right?
makes total sense.
And
Yeah.
and it be
You could just say it's us kids.
Yeah, it's us. Right. Yeah.
well,
Yeah, exactly.
it went from a name to a brand. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
once that brand
Yeah.
hits, then it's whatever, Xerox or Kleenex or whatever, then it just is what it is, and it represents kind of the whole, uh,
Yeah.
of it. And it's amazing how many people, now know US Kids Golf and use that kind of interchangeably with kind of all things in the junior golf world.
Yeah. For sure.
Well, John, you've broken it down into pillars. Let's kind of touch on each pillar a little bit. And really, I'll tell you, part of the reason that the genesis of this podcast and reaching out to you was kind of the equipment front. We've talked. I've got 3 kids, 8, 10, and 12. So here's, and my son, my oldest, has graduated. So we've had the 48. I'm sorry, that's the 50. We've had the 48. Moved on to the 51. Went to a different brand for the next iteration, but yeah. But so my 12-year-old, he grew half a foot this past year and he needs new sticks.
Wait, did he really?
No, he's blowing up. Yeah.
Oh my God.
He needs like 63-inch clubs now or whatever the breakdown is.
Whoa.
Golf is an expensive sport, I think, compared to like basketball or others. And we could talk about some of the things US Kids is doing to kind of try to break down that barrier of entry, but also why is it a necessary investment to get your little one, to get your aspiring golfer age appropriate clubs versus, why don't I just kind of cut down my backup set and hand it to him?
So let me, the first thing that I heard there that I wanted to address, and I feel bad because I don't want to just correct you, but the term that you used is actually one of the bigger problems kind of in the kids golf world that is age appropriate, right? Because clubs are not age appropriate. They're height appropriate. They're skill appropriate.
Got it.
Oh, interesting.
But you can have 4 or 5 8-year-olds and one of them's going to be this tall, one of them's going to be this tall, one of them's going to be this tall, and the same club's not going to fit them all. Not properly.
Yeah. That's a very good point.
So we go by
sometimes I just say things, Sean. I'm sorry.
We go by proper fit, and that's really done by height and skill. In other words, if you have a faster swing speed, you'd go to our Tour Series line. But at the age of say 8, you're pretty much everyone's going to be in the ultralight models.
Mm-hmm.
And but it's an incredibly important topic, and that is that much more important than how good you are or how well you score at these young ages is, are you developing the fundamentals properly? I did a podcast a few years ago with Greg Rose from Titleist Performance Institute. And we were talking about how kids, as they develop, you see their development curve, if they focus on the proper fundamentals, their development curve is a hockey stick, right? It just goes up like that. Right. Whereas a lot of kids who chase distance early and they get the wrong set of clubs because it allows them to hit the ball a little bit further right now. So yeah, you can hit the ball farther with a longer club. So if you are 9 or 10 years old and you get a club that's 3 or 4 inches longer than everybody else, with the same swing speed, you're going to hit the ball farther. However, you're going to plateau. Your swing speed, hand speed is going to plateau much quicker because you don't have the proper fundamentals developing. So at some point, these kids that you've been out driving at 7, 8, 9 years old are going to just leapfrog over you, and you are going to be, that's it. Your game is kind of peaked as far as competitive golf, where these other kids are now just hitting some of their stride.
And I got to say, I bet that's wildly frustrating as one of those kids who's been outdriving your age same, whatever the same category, and all of a sudden you've plateaued and everybody else is going past you, and there's no explanation as to why, because wait, but why? So yeah, I can imagine that's incredibly frustrating from a kid's point of view.
It is.
as well.
And so it is hard. We very much believe in rewarding great play, right? That's why we have tournaments. That's why we have a world championship. But I still will always focus on, I would rather you come to the world championship and have an incredibly great time. You obviously have some skill about you to qualify to be there. You have a great time, make outstanding memories with your family, create these special experiences, and shoot for a top 20, shoot for a top half of the field, and just focus on, as they call it, brick by brick, laying the groundwork, because one day, if you're doing it right, you will see the return. And you may not see it immediately or within the next year or two. And I'll give you a great example. This is, sorry to get long-winded here, but
No, it's great.
Good stories.
Love it.
There was one of my very first world championships. I was doing some filming, and I saw this guy sitting behind the 18th green over at Longleaf during the world championship with his young daughter, and I needed to do an interview. So I said, "Hey, can I interview you guys?" And we did this little quick interview. And this cute little girl, and I said, "Hey, how did you play this week?" Not very well. Okay, but tell me about it. Tell me what made it good and great and all that. And we had a real nice time, and I got pretty close with the family. So the world championships that I'd follow every time they came to the world, and I don't think she ever had a top 10 in the world championship. But I followed her, right? So then she enters junior high and high school. So she's in high school now. I think she's a sophomore in high school. She's in all the newspapers in Illinois. She just shot a 59 in a high school tournament.
Wow.
I saw her compete here locally at the U.S.
That's for 18.
U.S. girls and junior.
I got nothing.
Oh.
I got. That's insane.
So one of the college coaches that I saw there that are scouting out all these girls is a friend of mine. I went to Vanderbilt, right? Anchor down. And I saw the Vanderbilt coach, and I said, "Emily, who are you here seeing?" And she goes, "I'm obsessed with that girl swing." I go, "Oh, that's my friend. Do you want to meet her?" She goes, "I can't. The rules say I can't." There's all these weird NCAA rules, man. I mean, like, I'm
okay, yeah.
So I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, listen."
Wait, the recruiting coach can't meet the kids
They're a certain age.
before a certain window?
It's like a tampering thing or something.
Yeah, that's really interesting. No, I mean, that's actually, I love that.
It's wild.
I gotta imagine that's.
I was like, "Can you say hi to her family?" No, I can't. But like, I could call.
Wow.
But we have to be a certain distance away and kind of not facing each other. And I'm like, what? But I said, "Hey," I said, "don't worry about it. I'm very close with the family. You want her? She's a Commodore. In 3 years, she's in Nashville." That's what I told her. I was like, "I'll cheat. Whatever I need to do, I'm going to get her there." Well, then she goes on this heater, and she's winning the state title and shooting 59 and all this stuff. And now she's got college coaches from all over. And now, like, Emily sends me a text. She's like, "Did we lose her?" I'm like, Not yet, but
not yet.
The competition's there." So I love that story. And here's a girl that did it right. She did not. She did not sacrifice her ability or in order to hit the ball farther or whatever. No, she stayed within herself. She practiced hard. She worked hard. And then as her strength developed, and she was able to, and she grew taller. She got the right clubs. Now, she's lapping the field. I love to see it.
That's so cool. I really love that. Yeah.
John, I know we're a new podcast, but our listenership is growing. I mean, you might not want to confess to more NCAA tampering.
No, you bring it on, guys. I don't. I've got all kinds of issues with you anyway. So,
yeah.
I played in a scramble last week that we ended up winning, which was so above and beyond our expectations. But it was a bunch of 8 handicaps. Kind of just we figured we'd be good at ham and egging, and we really were. We shot a 60 on a par 71. Par 72. Sorry, we were 12 under. We won by 1. There was a group that had a not to toot our own horn, but there was a club pro in that other group, and but he was paired up with some people that weren't quite as consistent, and we ended up shooting a really good score. But on one of the tees, there was a girl that was on the Epson tour, and she was she would hit from the forward tees, and you could play if you donated. It was like basically $20 a person. You donate, and then you get to play that ball. And is the only tee box where we all hit an unbelievable drive. All 4 of us hit, and she literally started laughing, and she was like, "You're not going to use my ball, but I'll go ahead and give you the tickets or whatever." And then she piped it. I mean, like an insane drive. We had 135 out on a par 5, and we stuck it to 7 feet. We made the eagle putt. It was awesome, but she was such a breath of fresh air. I really, really enjoyed talking to her, and it was just one of those things. Like we just got talking, and I realized like we were almost behind pace by the time I was done talking to her, and but I find that there's so much more to learn from first of all the LPGA. Just those are the swings that I need to be copying because they're so good and they are so consistent. I mean, it's insane how good they are. And yeah, they're often hitting a longer club in if they're playing from the tips. If they're playing on the same level, they're maybe hitting it, but they're better with those clubs than I will ever be. And it was an awesome thing to see her tee up. And she was like, "You probably won't end up using my ball." And we absolutely used her ball. Like she was 40 yards ahead of us, and then she was 20 yards ahead of where we ended up. Like our best drive was still not quite as far as her. So it was awesome.
I have 2 quick anecdotes to follow up on that.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to to be invited to play in like the Pro-Am or the College Am part of the East Lake Cup a couple times. The East Lake Cup, really nice event. Yes, it's fantastic. So the first year I go down there, and my former boss became an executive down at the Golf Channel, my former boss at Turner Sports.
Oh, cool.
And so he invites me to play in this thing. And so I show up, and I don't know anybody. So I'm just walking around, and someone, they check you in, and they go, "John Kim." They said, "You're playing with USC today, Southern Cal."
Okay.
And I said, "Okay, great." I said, "Well, I'd love to win this thing." Because
my wife's a Trojan, so
okay.
Big
all right.
ups
So
there,
I'm like, I didn't know a thing about USC, but all right. So then they said, "Yeah, you're playing with a female," and I was like, "Man, I really wanted to win this, but okay, whatever." And then they look up the name, and then she's a freshman, and I'm like, "Freshman female, we got no chance to win, but let's have a good time."
Her first name isn't Rose, is it?
What's that?
Her first name isn't Rose, is it?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
No, she went to Stanford. Sorry, my bad.
Oh, yeah, Rose Zhang, yeah. We get to the very first hole. We started, I believe, on 12, which is a par 4 along the road. And I get up there, and I hit a really good drive for me.
Yeah, sure.
And she, the USC coach comes up to her and says, "I want you playing from the same tees as those guys, because that's where you'll be playing the tournament from."
Awesome.
And I'm like, "No,
great.
Wait a minute. We're trying to be competitive here. You go up to the women's red tees, whatever." And she looks and she goes, "Can I hit from both?" And he says, "Yeah, I don't care what you do, but I want you hitting back there, to get ready for your event." So she looks at me, she goes, I'll hit from both." So she hits from where I hit from, and I absolutely flushed one. Just as good as I'm going to hit it. And then she's like this small little freshman, and she hits the ball, and you can hear it, right? And everybody's like, "What the?" That ball's still going up as it passes mine from my tee.
Oh my God.
But then she goes up to her tee, and she puts it like within about 5 yards of the green. And so I start walking down the fairway with her, and her and her coach, and the coach looks at me and goes, "You were worried, weren't you?" I said, "No, I wasn't worried, but I didn't know that she was gonna." And he just laughed and goes, "She's probably the longest, in the Pac-10 or something like that. And I'm like,
Wow.
oh, okay. Well, I feel pretty good about this.
Right.
So that's talking about, being able to just hit it.
Yeah.
And she didn't miss a shot the entire round.
That's incredible.
Now, let me back this up. So this year at the World Championship, the 12-year-olds, if you guys don't know, or if the viewers and listeners don't know, at the end of the World Championship, for the 12-year-olds, they have something called the Van Horn Cup.
Okay.
And this girl that I've known since she was like 6 years old, she was adopted. Her and her family grew closer through golf.
Oh,
They
cool.
said it was her choice, right?
Wow.
And then turns out this adopted girl goes on to win drive, chip, and putt and become one of the best young players in the world.
Dang. Okay.
So as a 12-year-old, I don't remember her exact score, but they played 3 rounds in the World Championship. In 3 rounds, she missed 54 holes. She missed 3 greens. We're talking like, I don't know, 5,200 yards,
What?
3 greens. She did not. She only made 1 bogey in it the entire tournament, and it was not one of those 3 greens that she missed. She saved par every time.
Oh my
Her
God.
only bogey was on a par 5 where she was by the green in 2, chipped on, and then 3 putted. And so anyway, the whole point of this is I caddied for her during the Van Horn Cup, which is after the World Championship, kind of like a Ryder Cup for the top 10 players or top 20 players. And so in caddying for her, a 12-year-old girl, and like I'm a solid single digit player. But I'm scared to death. I don't want to tell her wrong. This girl just had, by the way, she came in 4th. So 3 players did better than her in that performance.
Good
than
Lord.
she had. But I'm like, and her name is Autumn, and I'm like, Autumn, off the tee, I'd say, oh, that bunker's about, 220. If you can take it at the left edge of that bunker with just a little draw, that's going to put you in a real good spot.
Yeah.
I kid you not. Every drive would be like, okay, right at the left edge of that bunker with a little draw. Or if whatever we needed to do, she'd just do it. And it's like, how good are these kids?
That's incredible.
By the way, I'm a much better caddy than I am a player.
I've got a 5-year-old who we had a kid set, and we just got him for his birthday. I think his last birthday in March. We got him a set because the local I'm out in Southern California, and the local club that's a par 61. It's a great little training track. It's actually where Max Homa learned, and he's from the same town. So it's they've had pitch and putt. They have like a 9-hole par 3, and then they have a 18-hole executive course. And but they had a rule that you couldn't go to the driving range until you were 5. And so we would go to the chip and putt, the putt, like the little putting green, a little chipping green or whatever. It never even occurred to me to take him to the par 3, which apparently he was welcome at, because the signs everywhere were like, nobody under 5 can be here. And I was like, a little nervous about the legalities of it. But I gotta say, it actually really helped, because he was so comfortable around the greens. He would, he's 5. He's not the world's greatest chipper yet, much to my disarray. But anyway, dismay, not disarray. That doesn't make any sense. I'm smart. Anyway, but we've gone now like 4 or 5 times. We got him a set that was size appropriate, and it's I gotta say, it is the greatest thing to like carry his bag and walk next to him and talk through the shots, and and we're really early stages, and I'm really like, my goal is to make it fun, like to genuinely make it fun, because I've heard
100%.
too many stories. I had a friend who went to school. He was a D1 or D2. I can't remember exactly now, but he went on a full ride for golf, and he did not play for 20 years after he graduated, because he hated the pressure from being a kid, being good at it, and being told like, this is your ticket to college. He was never going to be a pro or anything. He wasn't necessarily that good, but he was. I mean, I went to the driving range once with him and was like, oh my God, like that's what it sounds like when somebody hits an iron or a driver or whatever. But his kid has gotten into it and is on the high school team now, and he's turned the corner. I think that's my favorite part about this, is that he loves it again, because his kid really loves it. and it's brought them together. It's given them something to go hang out and do together. He caddies for him. I mean, it's really cool. It's a really, really cool thing to be able to see the connection. And I can see why it could go the other way, where the parents get a little intense and
Yeah.
but that's, there's an awesome commercial out right now about a little league dad. It's for an insurance company, when he's like, I could never go pro, but I'm going to make sure that my kid does. And he's like talking to the microphone. He's like, all the pressure's on you, buddy. Don't mess up. And the kid looks so unhappy, and then he swings and throws the bat through a windshield or whatever. But I can see how that could happen. But I also know, I got a kid who's really coordinated. He can, from the time he was 18 months old, he would sit in front of the TV and mimic Tiger's 19 Masters thing on YouTube. He would swing along with him. And so he swings lefty, he throws righty. It's really fun. But it is one of those things where, like, my goal for him is for it to keep it fun, but also to do some competition, because I think that is the way that you learn. Because I've never done any competition, and every time I've done any kind of match play or anything, I crumble. Like, it's as if I've never played golf before.
I think there's two things there, Matt. One is the more time that you guys spend together on the golf course, you're going to see in real time your relationship evolve and grow stronger.
Yeah.
Certainly our hope to go stronger, closer, and also the dynamic in time, right? Because that's what parents do as they're caddying for their kid. They're calling a lot of the shots 6, 7, 8, 9, and then all of a sudden around 9 or 10, all of a sudden the kid starts becoming a little bit more mature and a little bit more decisive and saying, no, this is a 7-iron for me, or no, I'm going to read this a little bit left, right.
That's
And
awesome.
the dynamic flips, but the parents love it. And it really does kind of make an impact that way. One thing that I tell people is that U.S. Kids Golf, not trying to put a commercial in here or anything, but we're not a golf company.
Yeah.
Like, people are like, well, what do you mean? We just talked about all the tournaments and the equipment and the coaching. No, I think of it more as like a organization that serves families. And we're going to do it by using golf.
Yeah.
Right. So golf is really more a tool than it is a destination.
Yeah.
And so people say, hey, we love what U.S. Kids Golf does to grow the game. I appreciate that. And it's true, but that's not our purpose.
Yeah.
Our purpose isn't to generate big numbers and grow the game that way. Our purpose is to provide families with opportunities to do great things together. And if we do that right, more families will want to take part. And that's what grows the game of golf.
Oh, for sure.
But, the time that you go to the range, the time that you go to the course, the little chipping area, whatever, those are all, for us, opportunities for you guys to spend time together.
For sure.
Yeah. And the math is undefeated. The odds that your kid, when I say your, I mean anybody, that your kid, whoever, is going to make a living on the PGA Tour,
100%.
It's not zero.
No, it's 100%.
It's not really high either.
It's my retirement fund. My retirement plan is to caddy for him. What are you talking about, John?
Great idea. I would still have like a backup just in case.
Maybe, right. Yeah. I might need to check my investments.
But when, if you can celebrate, say, high school graduation by taking a golf trip,
absolutely,
to Pinehurst or to Ireland or Bandon or whatever it is, I think we've done a pretty good job at that point, right?
Yeah,
I mean, in my mind, if parents can say, and they do, they tell me all the time, some of my favorite memories, I went on a golf trip with my boy, or it was me and one father told me that he had 3 girls, and it was the 3 of them, the 3 girls and him, and I can't remember where they went. It might have been Pebble Beach. He said, but you can't imagine the emotion of seeing the 3 girls with their little clubs walking in front of him.
Awesome.
And he's just right behind them, the most proud dad in the world.
Yep.
Does it matter what they shot? I don't think he ever said it. I don't think he cared. but he got to have that.
That's not why you play those courses, though. You don't play those courses to go shoot a score. I mean, at least not as an amateur, in my opinion. You go to experience that property, that piece of history, and to be able to do it with your kids is unbelievable. I mean, that's incredible.
That's the thing that kind of, there's a friend of mine. He told me this story, and I met him because he donated some money to the foundation, and I called him and asked him why, and he tells this story, and he said, his daughter at a young age told him one day, "Dad, I want to play in this U.S. kids golf tournament," and he's looked at her, he's like, "What? Like, you don't even play golf?" And she's like, I'm going to learn. I want to play in this event because she had a friend or two that played in it. So he takes her to this event, and quite frankly, she plays. She didn't do all that well. But two things. One, she got a lot of support. Other players and families and the volunteers and stuff were so encouraging and helpful. And he had a great time with her, caddying for her.
Sure.
Whatever she shot, it was a big number. But they get in the car, and she's like, "I want to do that again." And he's like, "All right, awesome. I think we got something here."
Wow.
He said what that meant for her, not just growing up as a golfer, but in terms of her growing up, and I don't know what it means to be 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old girl, but I imagine you go through a lot of different dynamics at school and whatnot. And he said that a lot of those things just didn't faze her because she found so much escape and comfort and identity in how she was doing playing golf.
Yeah.
And dang it, she started getting pretty decent, right? She started getting better. She started out and she wasn't good. She started getting better. She got good enough to win. She won a couple state titles. She played college golf.
Okay.
I will say that she is I'm going to brag on her a little bit. She's a 3-time club champion now at this little course up in Philadelphia called Marion. I mean, it's
good God.
It always cracks me up when people say pretty good and then they follow it up with state titles and club championships.
Yeah. Club championships in Marion, yeah.
Wow. And the thing is he appreciated golf not because it gave her college experiences or not. He's just a guy trying to be a good dad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's just trying to provide opportunities for her to find something that she loves, even if she wasn't very good at it. To me, that's my favorite type of story.
That's amazing.
I love the stories where you tell me that, hey, I get texts all the time. I got texts this weekend from parents saying, "Hey, my kid won their local tour event. I love that. Congratulations. It's awesome." But my favorite stories are the ones where like, we just had a great time.
Yeah.
All we're trying to do is I want Junior to love something.
Yeah.
And I want to love doing it with them and them love doing it with me. And the results are just, I get it. I get why they're there and they're important, but they're not the most important. And if that's one message that I could just kind of ingrain on the world is golf is just, the three of us, we're good enough to have fun. We're probably not winning any major championships, but we love golf. We love being out there. There's so much awesome about it.
Yeah.
That's kind of that love of that. If we can transfer to the young kids, then golf as a sport, as an industry, as a community, that's what makes it in a really good place. Not because everybody can go 5 under,
right?
But because people love being out there.
John, I didn't get exposed to golf until I didn't become a golfer till my 30s, right? And I'm well past 30 now. I'll just demystify that one. Grew up around Little League ball and maybe Pee Wee football, and junior golf as an organized thing was not kind of mainstream, certainly where I grew up. My oldest, the one that needs some new sticks, is starting to express an interest in competitive junior golf. How does one get started? Like, how do you recommend someone kind of dip their toe in that water and check it out?
Yeah.
Well, the good news is for U.S. kids golf, for a long time, we kind of handed them off at age 12 to the
Mhm.
various state associations. To
Okay.
the better ones would go to like AJGA
Yeah.
schools,
Yep.
etc. That's no longer the case. We now have a teen series, so we can actually kids
Oh,
can stay
great.
involved in US kids golf events all the way up through 18.
Okay.
There's not as many of those as there are at the local tour level for the younger kids, but there are there. So just
Okay.
find ones in your area. Um, there are a number of options. Typically, I would if there's not a US kids golf option, um, check with the state associations. They often
Mhm.
have the junior golf circuit options as well. I think that it's really good, important, to kind of both have the right on ramp to kind of that competitive world.
Sure.
One that isn't just focused on kind of a small clique of kids that have always done it and are the best of the best of the best, but much more kind of inclusive. So many kids, if they understand, hey, you know what, I'm going to shoot 80 or 85 or 90, but I'm going to go out there in a tournament setting with and just have a great time and
Mhm.
meet some new friends and just enjoy that kind of competitive atmosphere, and feel good about the good shots and learn
Yeah.
from kind of the bad ones. uh I don't know if that's directly answering your question, Hayes, but it's a big encouragement that
Yeah.
yes, if they're showing an interest, let them do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of all the sports, I mean, it's not one typically you're not gonna, you know, break an arm
Yeah.
or that there's not an injury risk as so much. It's just good for the person, good for the families.
Well, and I do want to clarify too, if you go to the US Kids Golf website, there's a tournaments tab where you can find down to your state
All the
local
way down, yes.
yeah, and by age group, so it's all right there.
Yeah, right.
And
You can type in your zip code, I believe, and it should give you a list of tournaments that are in somewhat close proximity to you.
Oh,
Okay.
that's awesome. Okay. Yeah, that was going to be my next question was and so is it 8? Is that where you guys start with your tourneys, or do you
No,
start
no,
before
no.
or earlier than that?
You can start earlier. I believe I, be- I believe the boys go like 6 and under, and the girls may start at 7 and under, or they may start at 6 and under. Meaning, if you were 5 and you really wanted to play,
Yeah.
you could play in that.
Oh, there is
Uh,
like that young. I assumed
yes.
there was like a cap at 6 or 7 or 8 or something. That's amazing. Okay.
No, I think at 6 years old is typically where they and
That's
is
really cool. I didn't
6 years
realize it was
old.
that young because there's
6 years
like
old is
a
the youngest you can start, but there
okay.
is absolutely tons of kids that start
Yeah.
at 9 or start at
Right.
11.
Well, I was going to say
So
that our local spot with the same facility, they do a summer camp, and I believe it is 7 and up. So
okay,
they don't like, because I had talked to the pro one time and said, my kid seems really interested and I'm just pursuing options or whatever. And he was like, yeah, we don't really start until 7. Just often it's a what did he say? It was an attention span kind of thing where
no,
if I can't give them direction, then there's not really a point for them to come, which I do genuinely understand. If you've got a kid who's just, I just want to putt, man, just leave me alone. Like, yeah, okay, great. But
yeah, and I'll bring up that one of the things that has been both a blessing and a curse is the growth of golf, right? Ever
Mhm.
since kind of the COVID boom
for sure,
for golf courses. So, like in your area, Matt, um, God bless you guys, but you're expensive. Like
I know. I trust me.
golf, so
I'm very aware.
golf courses that used to historically love hosting US Kids golf events.
Yeah.
It's tough now. Like,
Yeah.
why are we gonna give up a Saturday afternoon when we could
Yeah.
fill it with
No,
people,
it's
paying $140 a round, and you guys want it for what, $60 a round or 70
yeah,
bucks a round? So, it is a constant struggle, and so, let's say at 5 or 6 years old, you may not have enough parents that wanna sign kids up to create a field
absolutely. Yeah.
of 6-year-olds, because why am I gonna pay all that money for, my kid after 3 holes is now,
Yeah. Yeah,
um
absolutely. Right.
so there's a lot of different dynamics that go into all of those things. Things that I'm not a tournament expert
Yeah,
guy, and I
sure.
don't understand how all the tee times are blocked and how the flow works for when 6-year-olds tee off and 12-year-olds tee off, and how you'll never make sure that they run into
We need
each
an
other.
8-hour round,
Yeah,
just blocked out. Yeah, exactly.
the ones that do it are really good. I think out in your area, Jeff Hiroshi is one of the tour directors. I don't know if you know him, but
I don't,
he's
but I'll
fantastic.
look up. Yeah.
So yes,
Do the kids normally play 9? Do they normally play 18? Do they normally play 6? Like, how do the tournaments work from that
I believe
perspective?
up through age 8, they play 9 holes.
Okay.
And then starting at 9, don't quote me on that, but
No,
that's
it's
pretty
okay.
close. Starting at
But
9, I think they go to 18.
That's still young to play 18. That's pretty impressive that they can.
That's what they do at the world championship level, so I'm
Okay.
assuming that would
Yeah.
translate all the way down,
Wow.
at least for the boys.
Well, John, we've had you for nearly an hour. Can we ask you a couple more real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Well, and the thing that occurs to me right away, so we're talking, I mean, I love golf. I play a lot of golf. I talk about, potentially taking my son to a junior tournament. When's it time for me to say, you know what, I'm not going to try, I'm just going to be dad, and I'm not going to try to coach you.
Yes.
And I'm not going to try to be your instructor. Like, you must have seen that error from parents many times over, right?
Of course.
My habits don't need to be
You know,
ingrained in anybody. Yeah, exactly.
It's weird because some of the most successful kids that I know, their dad is their coach.
Okay.
Sure.
Well,
But
and
their dad,
and I should clarify that we had Marty Jertson on in a previous podcast episode. Marty's perfectly qualified to be his kid's coach. I am not a PGA professional.
and that's exactly right. There are so many golf professionals that have their kids involved. I mean, like, Tiger Woods, Charlie Woods' kid.
I think Tiger knows
Paneka's
a thing or two.
They all played in U.S. Kids Golf event. I'm not going to sit there and go to Charlie and go, "Hey, you don't listen to your dad. What's he done?" So
in his red shirt.
It is the. Here's what I would say is if you don't have a experience with coaching, whether you've been coached yourself or you are a coach, and you're really concerned about getting your kid properly developed in the game, then yes, get them at least a time or two with a certified coach, just to make sure, even if you're absolutely determined that you're going to be the one that guides them to the promised land here.
Yeah.
Make sure you're doing it right, that you're saying things that are fundamentally sound. So, you can fire a coach. You can't fire a dad from being a dad. You can, and I always sometimes wonder about the dynamic of what happens when you think that the coaching side is really, really wrong, but you don't want to hurt the feelings of dad who's poured so much time, effort, sweat equity into you as a player.
That's tricky.
All of those things. I can't be the counselor for the family, but I will say that I think your job as a dad, if somebody were to just ask me in a very generic, kind of general way, is to find ways to make your kid love golf.
Yeah.
That's it. If you really want them to be good at golf, you need someone who might be a little more qualified in that field, if that's not you, literally qualified in that field. Not just because you broke 80 a couple times in your life.
Well, and it seems to me that, that whole potential benefit of look how much fun we had together and that brought the family closer together, you're going to put that in jeopardy if you insist on being dad and coach at the same time.
Yeah. That's, I can't imagine any parent saying, "I'd rather you see me as your coach than your dad."
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I just think it's a fascinating thing to be able to have a kid who has, he genuinely, he's asking me, when can we go to the course again? When can we go to the driving range? Can you set up the net? Can we hit into the net? And I'm trying to say yes to that as much as I can. But also fully realizing that, like, my job is not to be his coach. my job is to make sure he's having fun and to help him when and where I can. I mean, I know enough to be able to say like, oh, you're literally pointed at the lake. Don't hit now. Like if you don't want to hit it in the water, don't hit it there now. But I got to say, like, one of my favorite things that's happened, and I'll try to post this picture here, but we went and played, this is 3 or 4 months ago, and we were having such a great time, like just a genuinely great time. And I always team off up close to the green, like he can't hit it much further than probably 50 yards. But we got to this team, we were waiting because it was Southern California, so you're always waiting on a tee box, and we were just sitting down. We were sitting on a bench, and he said something. I leaned over, and this lady came bolting over. I thought we had left a club or something, and she said, "Hey!" And I look up, and they had been behind us, and she said, is it okay if I share some pictures I just took?" And there's a picture of us sitting on the bench with my arm on his shoulder, and he's like looking up at me, and I'm looking down at him, and it's like it's my favorite because it's very clear we're on a golf course. It's very clear, and it's just one of those moments where I was like, this is the reason we're doing this, right? It's not because you hit one wedge pretty good or one drive pretty good. It's because we got to spend a couple hours, and my very favorite thing, we had played 9 holes, and he looked up and he said, "Can we play 3 more?" And I was like, "Dude, we can play as many as we want because it's like a pay once and you just cycle through as many times as you want." And he was like, "We can," it's like the and of course 3 holes later, he's like sitting down on the green, like, "I am tired, Dad." I was like, "Well, yeah, of course you are." But it's my goal with him is to have it be a thing that we can for his 18th birthday or high school graduation or college or something, be able to celebrate with a trip somewhere or be able to celebrate these things with a round and have it be something special. And I mean, I have an older daughter who has zero interest in golf, and my hope is that somehow she'll figure out like, oh, it is fun. But in the meantime, to be able to share that with him is so special. And the fact that there's a company out there whose goal is to generate that same feeling
Facilitate
with
that,
families everywhere is so awesome. And I just want to say thank you for doing that, like for that being your goal, not for it to be how many tournaments can we run and how many golf club sets can we sell, but to how can we facilitate these relationships with golf, because it's the thing I look forward to most every week is my round, because I know I'm going to meet somebody new. I know I'm going to have fun. I'm probably going to get mad too at some point, but that's it's a humbling sport. But that's one of the reasons I love it for a kid too, is like, hey man, you're gonna mess up. Like you're going to hit bad shots. How do you recover from that? How do you handle that? I feel like it teaches all of these lessons. So I'm super encouraged to have you on and just pick your brain.
The life lessons from golf are pretty widely acknowledged and evident, and still so incredibly important and inspiring.
Yeah.
I would tell every one of your listeners and viewers and everyone who comes across these clips that, the image that you just kind of created for us, both the real-time photo that the lady took of you and your son, but also the one that's kind of in your head, fast forward 15 years or whatever it is.
Yeah.
The most special times in your life in 10 years and 20 years down the line may very well be conversations that you have on the golf course with your son.
Yeah.
And a lot of my golf buddies that I play with, when I talk to them about their golf journey, how they got into the game and what they're why they love it and what they want to kind of get out of it. Uh, so many of those stories come back to, hey, I never really saw my dad as anything other than my dad until we played a lot of golf together. And then he also became like a really good friend. And I want to have that with my boy or my girl. And I think about that and I'm like, you guys can't necessarily see it, but like right behind me here, all these cards that I get from people from all over.
That's so cool.
And it's really, I don't know why they send them to me other than I'm glad that they do because I get them and I get to post them. I mean, that's a lot of them over there. And they all kind of say the same thing. And they are, thank you for taking time to come by and say hi.
Yeah.
That was the most special weekend or the most special week of our lives. That is something we'll never forget. That is the kind of thing that we want to do every year because we literally grew closer as a family. And this is something that we're going to try to emulate in some way, shape, or form for the rest of our lives. So when little Brian is no longer 9, but 19 or 29 or 39, this is the kind of environment, this is the kind of dynamic we want.
That's
I can't
awesome.
ask for more than that.
Nope.
Man, you both had me wanting to go wake up my son to tell him I love him. So, hey, John,
go make 50 putts, and then I'll let you go back.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
exactly right. John,
until your hands bleed. Right. Yeah, exactly.
We really appreciate you spending this much time with us, John. Thank you.
Guys, no, thank you for having me. I appreciate what you guys are doing for golf and spreading the word. That's what we need. We need dads that care not just about their own game, but about the game itself and, keeping the families involved. I said earlier, the odds of somebody's kid making a living on the PGA Tour are pretty darn low. You know what's not low? A lot of those kids are going to be doing things like being club professionals at great courses.
Yeah.
They're going to work in the industry. They're going to take my job and do it a lot better than I'm doing it. But these are the future guardians of the game. These are the future caretakers of golf. Let's train them right. Let's instill in them the same love and passion and enthusiasm for golf that we all have. We've seen it go sideways. We don't want that. And the best way to do that is by making it something that they'll cherish. And we do that through family golf. And so we've been very fortunate and blessed to kind of have that be our mission. And something we don't take lightly, but something that, it's not hard to get fired up about.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, I'm not going to try to top that. We're going to end right there, John.
That was awesome.
Thanks so much.
Guys, thank you so much. Anytime you need me, let me know. I'm around.
John, so just how can people find you? How can people, not necessarily you in particular, but US Kids Golf? Is it just uskidsgolf.com? Is it?
uskidsgolf.com is the web address. There's a uskidsgolffoundation.org for those that want to learn about that. And certainly we've got a decent little presence on all the social channels, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube.
Perfect. And for volunteer opportunities, is that also on the website? Is that would that be the foundation? Would that be?
The biggest volunteer opportunities right now are centered around the World Championship in Pinehurst for 2 weeks every summer.
So if you needed a volunteer to say, like, come down to Pinehurst and just, walk the course and just make sure that it was in good shape.
Help them out. Yeah.
Obviously I'm
that's I've actually volunteered for that one. They haven't called me back on that yet. But
I bet.
They don't really take my calls on that side of the building.
Amazing. So, okay. Awesome. Because I know that's got to be a big part of it too, is just fielding volunteers and making sure that the sites are, there's enough people to help families navigate.
What we couldn't exist without the help of a lot of great supporters and volunteers.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And we're lucky that we have them. And Pinehurst is kind of the golf capital of the U.S. And they call it the cradle of American golf. And so many people there just get so fired up every summer when U.S. Kids Golf's coming in.
That's so cool. It's great.
So shout out to them. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, John.
Thanks everyone for listening. Thank you, John, for joining us.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you guys very much. Yeah.
Absolutely.
We'll do it again.
All right. Yeah. We'll see you soon. All right. Thanks, guys. Let's talk to you next time.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. I hope you got a lot out of that. U.S. Kids Golf is clearly passionate about the game of golf, about growing the game of golf, about giving junior golfers opportunities in the sport. Get to uskidsgolf.com. Check them out. Check out their products. They're great clubs for your kids. But as you can see from the website, as you've heard from Mr. Kim, plenty to offer the sport. So I hope you enjoyed that one. As always, reach out to us at BogeyBallSociety@gmail.com. Thanks for listening in.